It's 3 minutes, 3:02 right now, East Coast, and so let's start. Um, Good day, welcome to another Tuesday Pulse AI. I'm Chuck Boyce with CB Creative, and this is the last of 5 sessions I did, what I call Track C, and it was pretty much all on governance and the who, what, where, why of dealing with AI within a small business. Today I'm going to finish off with the honest audit. And if you have an idea of something that you're thinking of AIing or automating or something, keep it in mind as we go through here. This is just going to be a walkthrough of how you can do an audit of an idea, a process, a concept that you think needs to be AI automated. And so let's continue. Here's what most nobody says aloud. It's like most AI doesn't get measured, it gets assumed. That means that somebody adopted a tool, it felt hopeful, helpful. We all moved on, nobody went back to check it. And so somebody said, oh, I heard that AI does this, I can use ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or something, and it just gets in there, but they don't really do much with it. They don't understand anything, privacy settings, settings about controlling where your what data is being sent up, what's being recorded, what's being used for training. And so, hold on. In an uncomfortable way, if you've been using an AI tool for 6 months and you can't describe what's actually changed, that's not nothing, that's data. It means that one of two things: either it's working and everything is great, but you've never set a baseline, so you can't prove that it's working, or it's not working and nobody wanted to be the one to say so. And so either way, you're kind of flying blind. And so today we'll go try to fix that. So, practical self assessment. Again, this is not a strategy review. Two things to look at: what it is and what it isn't. This is a self assessment. You run it yourself in an afternoon, no software, no consultants, just you and your process and your software. This is not a debate about whether AI is good or whether it's bad, and it's not me trying to say add more or remove it. It's just look at what's running in your business and whether it deserves to stay. And so, again, one use case at a time, no software, no consultant, completed in an hour or two. It's not an overall, it's not an evaluation, it's not an initiative, it's nothing to buy. It's just something: how is AI fitting in your world right now? Before we start, again, think of one thing that's working in your business right now and you can audit as we go along. This is not your strategy, it's just one thing. And so pick one use case, not your whole AI strategy. Just pick something like drafting emails or taking meeting notes or data cleanup, proposal sections, anything that you do that you're bringing AI in and you're just asking it, is it working or is it not? And so let's run through the questions. 5 questions that you should ask. Can you describe what AI replaced? What human task or other thing did AI replace? Did somebody review the last 10 outputs and actually qualify them if they were worth putting out, or was it just AI gave it and somebody sent it out to do something, whether it's send it to a client, whether it's use it for an internal process? But did anybody review it? Think about your last 10 outputs. Was it reviewed and did you do something with it? Was the last bad output, did you have something bad that you may have sent to a client, or you got a bad review, a client decided not to talk to you or questioned what you sent them? Was there bad output and did it cost you anything? What are you actually paying for when you're dealing with AI? Not just your subscription, but all of the human related, business related things that you may not have considered, but it does have a cost. And then if AI were to disappear tomorrow, if you're using a custom application and they went out of business, or AI suddenly disappeared, what would break? Are you reliant on that? Did you change your business that you can not back out of AI? And so a clear answer to any of or all of these five means that your AI is holding up. If you get a vague answer, revisit it and relook at the whole thing. And that's what the whole game is in this audit. It's just one use case with honest answers, and it's self-evaluated. So however you answer is what you get. So question number one, can you describe what it replaced? And I mean specifically, what is the specific task? How long did it take? Who was the person that did that? If you did it save time, that's not an answer, that's a feeling. If Sandy cut a proposal drafting from 3 hours down to 40 minutes, that's an answer. You saved a lot of time. You have to do that with, can it be replaced? What did it do? How much time did it take? Did it save money? Who was the person that it involved? Was it just a switch of tasks? Did Sandy suddenly go from writing something to now reviewing something? AI was doing something, but what did it replace? Next question. Who reviewed the last 10 outputs? Do you have it documented? Was there a name, a date? What did they check? If you tell me the last 10 things and then a review step wasn't happening and somebody remembers, it's not the same thing. If it's regulated, if it's impacting your business, if it's something that could have a negative effect on your business, it should be documented. Every case, AI use case, needs one person who owns the quality, not a committee, not whoever's available. You should have one AI point person who's familiar with that subject matter to be able to review it and give an honest output. And if it is something that's regulatory or something that they should have it documented. So if your use case is an agent, not just drafting, then it gets sharper, because an agent who sends an email or updates a record or kicks off the next step without somebody reviewing it, that is a potential liability. The output is an action that's already happened. So if you review it after the case, it could already have affected have a negative impact on your quality control, or it could have a negative financial impact. And so after the case, it's not damage control. It's just trying, well, it is actually damage control. And so you're trying to figure out what that agent did. And so if they need access to your systems to do the job, and it's going to go out to a customer, affect your finances, affect your reputation or something, you need somebody to be responsible for it. You can't, if something goes wrong, you can't blame the agent. It's who created the agent and who was responsible for the task overall. And so know what it's doing, what it's touching, and who it's affecting. Question 3, why is it not changing here? Hold on. There we go. No, it went too far. 3, what did the last bad output cost you? And so if it's, was it time to fix it? Was it downstream effects? Was it anything a client saw? Did it affect your finances? Did it affect regulations? Every use case produces bad output eventually. It's not a knock, it's just true, whether it's human or AI. So the real question is whether you caught it before it went out. What cost did it have if you didn't catch it? Did you change anything afterwards? If it sounds like we caught the wrong number on a client quote before it went out, and it took us 20 minutes to fix, we added a second set of eyes, that you identified the problem before it affected you, you have a time that it took, you have a fix, and now it's documented. The answer should make you nervous if we've never had a problem. That means one of two things. Either the use case was genuinely low risk, or nobody's paying attention. And so Again, if no one's paying attention, you don't notice until someone complains. And that complaint could be a lost customer, it could be a liability suit against your business. And so, again, somebody has to be responsible. And so, what did the last bad output cost you, or did you catch it before it became a potential liability? Number four, what are you actually paying? And so this is one of those things that most people don't think. They just look at your subscription fee. I'm paying $20 a month for ChatGPT or Claude, and they think that's the final thing. But if you're using it in an automated manner and you're using API, that means every call requires tokens and you're being charged per token. That goes beyond your subscription cost. And so if you automate something and you're testing it and you're looking at sending a few thousand tokens and you realize, oh, that's going to be $2, great. But then if it scales up to 500 users, suddenly that's $500 and a big difference. But do you understand where that token usage is and how it's scaling? Staff time. Are you switching tasks? If you had staff doing one task and now AI is doing it, is that person now reviewing it? And so where is the time difference? How much are you paying it? What does it cost to correct? Was it backing up? What are your oversight hours? Again, that's normally not calculated. If you're integrating or doing any maintenance, if you talk to Make or Zapier or NAN, one of the integration points, there's that extra cost. Not only that cost, but the human cost of setting it up, testing it, maintaining it. Maintaining, when you deal with AI within your environment and you do an agentic approach or an automated approach, there are prompts in the background. There's context files. Who's maintaining those prompts and that context? If your business changes and you have an AI agent that is based on a context file that represents an old way of doing business, if your business changes and that context file doesn't change, you're getting bad data out there that doesn't reflect your current operations. And so who is maintaining the prompting and the context behind your agents? And then there's the data storage. If you're dealing with AI in any way, there may be extra data in the back end, then you have to worry about who owns that data. Can you get it back? Can you turn it off? What is the liability? What are your tiers? How is that data being used? And so all of these add up. You compare what was done before using the tool versus what it's doing now. Sometimes the math is favorable, sometimes it's not. Either way, you should know your baseline before you started, where you automated, and what your current claim is. And so one thing I'll say out loud is per token pricing moves constantly. Any figure that I mention is just a snapshot because it's constantly changing. Check your current rates before you build a budget. The numbers we use today are reflecting April 2000 or May or June or July, whatever, spring, summer of 2026. But get third quarter, it's going to be completely different. Vendors are moving from monthly subscriptions to usage-based pricing. It's becoming more expensive if you're a vibe coder and you've used GitHub. GitHub went to AI and they had charged a flat fee that was relatively inexpensive. And then they switched without much notice to usage-based. And people who are using GitHub suddenly saw their GitHub repos being charged $30 to being charged $300. Again, if you don't keep up with what your vendor is charging you and monitoring your usage cost, your costs are going to suddenly skyrocket and you'll come into sticker shock. If that happens, do you have a way to back out? If it's going to be too expensive, is it more cost effective to go back to a human-based method versus the agentic method? And so costs are going to increase. That's just a fact. So last one is, if the tool disappeared tomorrow, what would break? And as I was mentioning, if a lot would break, then you built a real dependency and you don't know whether you've got a backup. Where does the data live? Can you export it? If you fall back, does the vendor double the price, change the terms, shut the door? How do you get back to your business? Is your data retrievable? If you suddenly find out that they're using it for training, if you turn it off, would it break? If you have that dependency, if you can't switch to another vendor quickly, you need to rethink how you've applied this AI, because businesses go out of business. And if you're relying on a single vendor, you could suddenly break your business because you put too much reliability into a software tool like AI. Now, if nothing would break, then you should be fine. It's just there's going to be these compliance issues, vendor lock-in, data, whatever happens when you leave. Make sure that you have answers to these before they become a surprise, not after. And so all of these things, the vendor lock-in, the data portability, what happens to your data if you leave, get them in writing as soon as you can before you sign contracts, before you commit to a solution that you may not be able to back out of, or if you try to back out, it's going to be expensive or difficult. So, one more thing, if you're being honest, did this go through a decision or did it show up? Was it thought out? Did you go and really figure out all of the aspects? And so it's what's running inside your business. If it was never approved by anybody, if no one has really been assigned, if nobody is really tracking the quality, somebody found a tool, it helped. They showed it to somebody else on your team. Now 2 people are using it. It's not a scandal, it's just normal. But if no one reviewed a standard, if you don't understand how the security background is set up, where your data is being trained, how it's being used, then it's a liability. It's called shadow AI, and it's not a tool problem, it's a governance problem. It's how you authorize the use of AI tools within your environment. And it doesn't have to be complex. It's just let your people know, talk to them about tools that they have, what they're using, figure out if there are any potential liability issues with that tool. If so, make it an authorized tool. Create a spreadsheet in a common data source that people access and say, this is the tool, here's what we can use it for, here's the data that can be put into. Make sure that everybody signs off on it. They understand the tools. You now have an audit trail. The audit service is a use case that nobody really thinks about, but it is your first move. And as more regulations show up, more state laws, more privacy laws, more consumer protection laws come out, it's going to require auditing. And the easiest thing to do is just to create a simple spreadsheet. Here is the AI tool. Here is the use case. Here's the data that can go in, and have people aware of it and sign off on it. That's your first step, is to document. So, you've answered all those 5 questions for your one use case, and now if you have more use cases, you do it for every single use case, but here's how to read it. The goal is to know exactly where you stand before you spend another dollar. If you answer all of those questions and they came out clear and your case holds up, you can describe it, who owns the review, know what it costs, how to measure it, put in a 60-day review cycle, and it just becomes a habit, a small 10 or 15 minute task every 30 to 60 days or every quarter. If 1 or 2 answers come out soft, most of it's holding up. 9 times out of 10, it's either not been assigned owner or you don't know the true cost. And so fix those soft answers. Don't pull it out. Just find out how you can make it more stable, more controllable, more monitorable, more auditable. If 3 or more of these 5 questions come out soft, then you're running on assumptions, and you don't want to assume. That's not evidence. You want to stop adding. Just name that owner, find your AI point person, And I'm going to say it over and over and over again if you've been through these for the last 5 weeks. This is just a common message. The goal isn't your perfect score, it's knowing where you stand before you invest more. The more you understand that environment and the impact AI has, the safer you're going to be. So, again, this is not a project, it's an afternoon, and once you get into the case, it's a small time sink. So you pick one use case, you block out 90 minutes, bring in whoever it touches, find out who's going to be responsible, answer those 5 questions, find out if there's any vague ones. If it's vague, don't skip it, focus on it. Make it non-vague, get a clear answer. Then fix the one that matters the most. If there's a small gap that you can instantly fix and document, if it's not written down, it's a hunch. And so writing it down is the whole exercise of this. Pick your use case, document it, assign someone, and get a clear answer. Again, it's going to save you in the long run as these new regulatory ideas or issues or acts come. And again, these regulatory things that are coming out are state-based to protect the consumer. And so it's not where you're located, it's where your client is located. And so it's becoming very complicated. These repeat across your business no matter what size. If there's no owner on review, that's a problem. Quality will drift over time if no one owns it. So again, as I mentioned earlier, someone has to own. If you're automating, if you're bringing in agents, if you're doing anything in there, it has a prompt, it has a context file. If that context and prompt is not being owned, managed, it's going to drift. And so get that out of the way. Forgotten subscriptions. There's something that you may have realized you bought a subscription because it sounded really cool 3 months ago. You used it twice. You forgot it was an annual or a monthly subscription, and you never used it again. So suddenly there's $20, $30, $60 that are constantly being billed out every month, and no one's using it. So what about those forgotten subscriptions? Do you have a handle on where your costs are? Unmeasured time savings. If you're just saying, oh, it saved time, I did better. Did you set a baseline? Did you measure how long it took manually with the tools that you had before bringing in AI? If you can't defend your spend, are you spending more on AI thinking that you're making a better choice? And so measure before you start implementing, and then measure afterwards and see if there is a true return on investment. Did you truly save time, or was it just a switch of tasks? You save time with one task, but now you're spending more on a review process. Where is the actual time being spent? Document that, and you can find a return on your investment. The client dependencies, they show up. If there's no export plan, those dependencies are, again, if you chose a vendor and that vendor goes out of business, or if suddenly they say that we're using this database in the background and our rates went up and now suddenly they change the pricing that you're paying, can you back out? Can you get everything? Do you have a fallback? Those are the quiet dependencies that may have a really poor impact on your business. And so think about how you can back out of something. And then duplicate tools are very common. Do you really need to have a subscription to ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity? You might, because they all have different strengths, but a second tool that's doing the exact same job bought by a different person. So if Sam is using Chat and Sally's using Claude, but they're doing the exact same thing, do you need those 2 subscriptions? You might, but those are things that you should look for, and this is going to affect any business no matter what your size. Again, talk to the staff. What tools are they using? Find out if it is going to be an authorized tool, put it in a spreadsheet. What can you be used for? What data can go in? Who's responsible for any changes? And so the whole track this was building up to is when we started, we talked about the filters, how you can filter what you do before you commit. Then you hold up under those 4 conditions, and now you can actually go through this audit one case at a time, get honest answers. If you go back to the recordings, which I'll drop here, I'll put this into the chat, but I send these out also on a weekly email, but that's where I have all the recordings. You can go back to the previous 5. I think this is probably like the 15th, maybe 20th session that I've done, but the last 4 before this, I'll talk about the filters, how to apply the filter, how to use it, who's responsible, and now with this audit. And so use that link to find the recordings. And let's see, what else do we have here? So if you can't improve on what you've only assumed, and so documentation, 5 questions, use 1 use case, spend a few hours in an afternoon for each use case, go through all of those 5 questions, and you'll have a better control over how AI is in your business, reduce the liability potentials, and just have a stronger use of the technology. So again, what did this replace? Specific task, how long it took, who was responsible. If you don't have that, you don't have anything to measure against. Who reviewed? Again, ownership. What did they check? Was there consistency? If there's no owner, you can't have that consistency. What is the last bad output? Did a bad output actually cost you something? Whether it's lost time in remaking, redoing, revisiting, talking to your client, dealing with a lawyer, if it's a liability thing. What was downstream? What was your client impact? If no one's watching closely enough, you could have a really expensive mistake. What are you paying beyond the subscription? Do you have API usage? What is the cost of your time? Is it just tasking? Is it actually saving time? What about your storage? Those are the real costs. Again, if you compare the actual cost of AI in your business when you take APIs and staff time, a $30 subscription really goes to be about $300 to $400 a month. And that's just what you're actually paying. And so it goes way beyond your subscription fee. And then if it breaks, if it disappears, do you have a redundancy? Can it be backed out? Can you switch over? Are you dependent on this? Is it going to break your business? Those are just things that you have to answer. Run the audit. If everything came back, again, if you need help on this, I'm available to help. Just use my website and contact. I'd be happy to have a small conversation with you. I recently, this past weekend, redid my entire website. I now have updates to the resource pages. There's a bunch of new resources on cbcreative.com resources. Check that out, learn more, see how there may be some things there that can help you. I've changed the focus more from being ready to more governing. And so it's now everybody seems to have AI, at least some people are using chatbots and stuff like that. And so look at the resources. There may be things that can help you with your business. And this is, as I said, session 5. First one was the filters. Second was where can you see the real results. The third was what are your gaps and how do you fix them. Fourth was who owns it. And now this was the honest audit. And so look at the YouTube list I put in the chat. And future sessions are coming up. I can't remember what I have decided for next week, but that is